The Dark Pictures Anthology Man of Medan is the first in an upcoming series of horror games made by Supermassive Games, the people who brought us Until Dawn. Man of Medan is a shorter story about a ghost ship. This review will contain spoilers.
Hey, easy with that. We shouldn't be screwing around right now.
I guess you never know. We might have to use it.
Atmosphere. One thing that's always going to hang over this type of game is the constant feeling that you've made a bad decision. With the game, like Until Dawn, being heavily based around choice, any little decision that you make has an impact on where the story pans out. But that's about it. The rest of the game is strolling around a creepy looking environment waiting for quick time events and jump scares. The immersion is broken quite a lot by characters talking or saying stupid things, or the game itself having problems with loading textures or frame rate drops, not being able to tell what direction you can go in and walking into the camera. I found myself laughing more times than I think the developers intended. When it works, it's kind of creepy, but when it fails to hit that low mark, it's not much of anything. No Harry Masons. Scares. There are two types of scary things in this game, the first being jump scares, most of which are painfully cheap and predictable. Holding my hand over a curtain or peeking into a vent is nearly always going to lead to me being startled by something loud. There's a difference between being shocked and being scared. I'm startled by a balloon bursting, but I'm not actively afraid of balloons. Some of the jump scares are incredibly cliché too, a toilet filling up with blood and a gas mask being mistaken for someone's face. It's not incredibly inspired stuff. The second is the fear of losing a character. In Until Dawn, the characters were built up better over a longer period, and they were ultimately written better too. You work harder to save characters you like, which increases the tension. Man of Medan's characters are, in my opinion, mostly unlikable. On my first playthrough, I made a wrong decision and messed up a quicktime event, and two of my characters died, but it really didn't matter because I didn't like them anyway. The game pivots a lot of the weight of its consequences on how invested the player is on saving the character, and without that weight, death is just meaningless. With most of the possible deaths in the game also being based around quicktime events that are easy to mess up, then, at least for me, I just said oh well and got on with the rest of the story. Whilst I was startled a few times, I wasn't scared. That's no Harry Mason still. Sound design. Despite playing the game through 3 times, I had to look up the soundtrack and listen to it again because it's extremely forgettable. It's generic, vaguely creepy cinematic music, some orchestral suspense pieces with some held out notes, and that's about all there is to say about it. It's not memorable or hard-hitting, it's just there. The sound effects, however, are pretty damn good. I'm no expert on freighters, but the sound effects are so extremely realistic it's like you're actually there. There's a little directional audio going on too, so I'll give it the point. That's 1 Harry Mason. Gore. Depending on how you play the game, you'll end up seeing different things. Only on my last playthrough did I manage to unlock a scene with Alex finding Olsen with rats gnawing on his insides, which was pretty gnarly, but that was about it for 3 different playthroughs. There isn't a lot of gore. It's pretty disappointing considering how little there is of everything else, so that's still 1 Harry Mason.
Shit on a shamrock. What happened here?
Story. In 1947, a crew of US Army soldiers transport a freighter of hallucinogenic chemicals entitled Manchurian Gold across the ocean. However, in a storm, the chemicals are released and a crew all suffer from psychosis and die of shock. In the present day, a group of rich kids are deep-sea diving for wrecks when they are attacked by pirates who, finding the documents the kids uncover on Manchurian Gold, assault and kidnap the kids and set sail for a boat and become trapped on it shortly after. The game tries to keep it a mystery of what the Manchurian Gold is for a patronizing amount of time, when most people could figure out what it is from the opening sequence. Again, the characters are very unlikable and go and say really dumb things that put you off them, from antagonizing a bunch of scary-looking fishermen whilst also waving around money and accusing people of consorting with the pirates with literally no proof. The characters weren't really appealing to my good nature. They also say cringeworthy things on a regular basis, and most of the game I was expecting Jason Voorhees to burst through an airlock and kill them all. Final score, 1 out of 5 Harry Masons. The characters feel like they're from a Friday the 13th movie, the story is spoon-fed to you and treats you like you're 10 years old, and the gameplay is a glorified haunted house fairground attraction. It's a shame to see this come from the same team that brought us Until Dawn, which was more robust, better written, and it hit way more of the marks it was aiming for. Again, I'd like to remind you the whole thing is down to my opinion in horror games. If you don't share this opinion, then that's cool, I get it. I'd like to point out that whilst I was uninspired, I certainly did not scream like a banshee or run away from the computer, and I advise you don't either. There'll be more horror reviews in the pipeline, and thanks for watching. And always go check out Bumps in the middle of the night. Peace.